Macro hold, micro heat. Why evaporating Toronto GTA inventory is the real summer 2026 story. Ciao, and welcome back to another episode of helping you build wealth through real estate brick by brick. I'm Nico James-Bock, founder of the CondoWiz group and broker at RE/MAX West Realty here in Toronto. Today is June 10th, and we need to talk about a massive disconnect that is happening right now in our market. On one hand, you have the national headlines screaming about high interest rates and a stagnant economy. On the other hand, if you actually step onto the pavement here in the Greater Toronto Area, you will see a market that is silently catching fire. There is a dramatic divergence happening between macroeconomic policy at the federal level and the micro market reality on our local streets. If you are sitting on the sidelines waiting for some perfect signal to make your move, you are likely playing a losing game. Today, we're going to break down why this stealth tightening is happening and what it actually means for your net worth. The frozen floor. BOC holds at 2.25% at today's announcement. Let us start with the big macro news of the day. The Bank of Canada just announced that it is holding the overnight policy rate steady at 2.25%. This marks the fifth consecutive meeting where the central bank has chosen to stand pat. What Governor Tiff Macklem is telling us in no uncertain terms is that the bank is adopting a strict wait-and-see approach. Now, you have to understand that at 2.25%, we are sitting precisely at the absolute bottom of what economists call the neutral interest rate change, or range rather. This is the theoretical sweet spot where monetary policy is neutral, meaning it is neither trying to stimulate economic growth nor slow it down. With Canada's headline inflation hovering at 2.8% and core inflation sitting right at the target of 2% as of the last April's data, the central bank feels quite comfortable leaving things exactly where they are. Do not expect any sudden movement. Our baseline is that interest rates will remain flatlined at this neutral floor for the remainder of 2026. Global wildcards, tariffs, trade, and tension. So why is the Bank of Canada staying frozen when some sectors of our economy are showing signs of weakness? The answer lies in the massive global wildcards that are completely out of our control. First, we are entering the fourth month of the geopolitical conflict in Iran, which has triggered a persistent global oil price shock. This conflict is disrupting international supply chains and keeping energy prices elevated, which is why we saw US inflation accelerate to 4.2% in May, and why Canadian inflation is feeling upward pressure toward the 3% mark. Second, we have the looming July 1st CUSMA trade review milestone. Trade negotiations are highly complex, and the threat of new US tariffs has the central bank deeply concerned about economic growth. The bank is essentially trapped in a balancing act, warning that while tariffs could force rate cuts in the future, any broader inflation from high energy prices could actually trigger a rate hike. Monetary policy is a blunt tool, and it simply cannot fix geopolitical supply chain disruptions. The TRREB May divergence, the stealth squeeze. While the national trade media focuses on these massive global headlines, let's pivot to what is actually happening on the ground here in the Greater Toronto Area. TRREB just released the market statistics for May 2026, and they tell a completely different story. The headline is simple. Toronto's GTA inventory is silently evaporating. In May, we saw a total of 6,583 home sales, which is an increase of 6.3% year over year. But here is the kicker. New listings entering the market plummeted by a staggering 18.9% compared to May of last year. When you look at this on a seasonally adjusted month-over-month basis, sales actually jumped by 10% from April, while listings dropped by 2.1%. What does this mean? It means that the spring market was far more active than people realize, and the available pool of homes is shrinking fast. Why waiting is a losing strategy. This brings us to the single biggest mistake buyers are making in today's market. I hear it all the time. Nico, I'm going to wait until the Bank of Canada cuts interest rates even further before I buy. But here is the truth. If you wait for the central bank to signal that the coast is clear, you are waiting for a signal that every other buyer on the sidelines is also waiting for. The moment rates start to tick downward, a wave of demand will flood back into the market. But with listings down nearly 19%, that demand will immediately collide with a severe lack of inventory, usable inventory. The average selling price in May stood at $1,069,700, which is down 4.6% year over year. But it is already starting to edge upward on a month-over-month basis. The bottom of the market is officially behind us. If you wait, the money you save on a slightly lower mortgage rate will be completely wiped out by the higher purchase price you will have to pay. The Wealth Builders Playbook for Summer 2026. So, how do we capitalize on this environment? Let us look at the playbook. If you are a buyer, you still have a closing window of negotiating power right now because many consumers are distracted by the macro headlines. You want to lock in a rate, target motivated sellers, and secure an asset before the inventory squeeze intensifies as we head into the second half of the year. If you are a seller, this is your golden opportunity. Because new listings have dropped by almost a fifth, your property faces significantly less competition than it would have a year ago. If your home is presented beautifully, marketed strategically, and priced accurately, you will capture serious, qualified buyers who are highly frustrated by the lack of options in the marketplace. In real estate, timing the inventory shortage is almost always more profitable than trying to time the interest rate cycle. Bill 98, the long-term supply hope. Now, looking at the bigger picture, we have to address why we are in the structural supply deficit in the first place. This month, TRREB came out with strong vocal support for Ontario's Bill 98, also known as the Building Homes and Improving Transportation Infrastructure Act of 2026. This legislation targets a fundamental truth. If we want housing to be more attainable, we must make it easier, faster, and cheaper to build. TRREB's own policy report, Removing Roadblocks, outlines exactly how municipal barriers, excessive red tape, and heavy development charges are choking supply. Until these systemic issues are resolved, the long-term imbalance between supply and demand will continue to put upward pressure on prices. Real estate is built brick by brick, and supply is the ultimate foundation of that wealth. To wrap everything up, today's lesson is simple. Do not let national macroeconomic headlines blind you to what is actually happening in your local neighborhood. While the Bank of Canada remains frozen at 2.25%, the local Toronto GTA market is tightening rapidly due to an 18.9% drop in listings. This is the definition of a stealth market transition. If you want to navigate these shifting dynamics, and build a bulletproof real estate portfolio, I invite you to book a private wealth strategy consultation with me and my team at the CondoWiz Group. Before you go, please take a moment to like this episode, leave a comment with your thoughts on where prices are headed, and share this with just one person in your network who is thinking about making a move in the second half of 2026. Thank you for listening. And remember, we build wealth through real estate, brick by brick. Ciao.